Okay, so the last chapter for today is going to be web scraping. And web scraping is the process of retrieving information from a website that doesn't come in a structured way, like an Excel file or a CSV file, but rather the information is stored in HTML code on the website. And we're going to use the Rvest package, which allows us to retrieve information from websites that is already somehow nicely formatted as tables. If the website is more complicated, like a dynamic website that includes a lot of JavaScript, this does not work as easily, and you will have to build like a custom software to retrieve data from that information. However, if the website you're scraping from is somehow nicely formatted, retrieving data is relatively straightforward, and you basically only need 3 functions from the Rvest package. You first use the read HTML, which takes as an input the URL from the website that you would like to scrape data from. And then it just goes on the website and just retrieves all the HTML code and saves it. After that, you look through this HTML code for the table. And this is what the HTML table function does. You just take the output from read HTML, pipe it into HTML table, and if everything is nicely formatted, you should already have a table at this stage, because HTML table just looks for elements in the HTML code that have the label table. And of course, if it finds several of those, it will just return a list of several such tables. Sometimes, if stuff isn't as nicely formatted, this will not work, or you might have to specifically say which part of the HTML code you would like to read as a table. And then you can have as an intermediate step, you use the function HTML nodes, where you say like which part of the HTML code you would like to read as a table, and then the output from this you pipe into HTML table. So let's look at an example. We would like to go on Yahoo Finance and read the stock market, the stock prices for a list of different companies, and we just provide these ticker symbols in a vector. And then we have a list, or we have a loop that loops over all the elements from this name vector. And then we use the glue function that we encountered in the previous chapter when we talked about text manipulation. And we take the URL, which is the basic URL is the same for all of these different stocks. The only difference is that after the quote, we have to supply the ticker symbol, so MSFT for Microsoft, to tell read HTML that it should go on Yahoo Finance, and then it should go on the website where the table for Microsoft with the stock prices for Microsoft is stored. So inside read HTML, we use glue to glue together the URL with the ticker symbol. And then we read all the HTML code from that website. We pipe it into HTML table, turn it into a data frame, and then we save this inside the list text docs. And we also add a variable with the name of this company. And then we loop through all the companies in this list. And for each, we add the information with their stock prices as an element to the text docs list. And the result looks like this. So we have this list. The first list, it contains several tables with like date, opening price, highest, lowest, closing price. And it also contains a list with just the name of the stock, which is going to be the same like for each of these different days, since it's always we observe the same stock. And then the second element will be just a similar pattern for the second company, which is going to be Amazon, and so on. And you can see now that you can now just, if you want to have the closing price, for example, you can now just extract, for example, the closing price from this list together with the name of the stock, for example. And now we can just extract all of these different sublists and bind them together using the bind rows command. And it will just now take all of these sublists and kind of stack them on top of each other as a large lists with all the stock prices for all the different companies. So let's look at a different example. We would like to go on the website of the World Bank and extract the Gini coefficients. So we also read HTML from this website. We pipe the resulting HTML code into HTML nodes to say, look for a table inside this HTML code. And then the result from this, we pipe into HTML table, and it will extract the information from the table that we have specified in HTML nodes. And now this data, we can just, we can now, using the extract functions, which we have encountered previously, which helps us to extract elements from lists. So to extract, for example, the third element from this list, turn it into a data frame, and then here we select just the first three variables, which in this case is the country name, the year, and the Gini coefficient.